But one thing I have found very interesting is Dame Dash conversations lately in terms of Aaliyah and R. Kelly. And one of the things he said to Aaliyah about, not going to shoot the video and stuff like that. And I'm just like, because of that history, I'm just like, why are you deep diving into this now? And it makes me question a lot about him.
Why?
I don't know. I just feel like...
Because let me say this. I believe everything that Dame Dash says.
Yeah? I don't know if I believe everything Dame Dash says.
I believe everything that he says. I don't think he's lying about anything. I think he might have an agenda for saying this stuff now. He has a network. He's putting all of this content on his YouTube, and why not? Everyone else is. But I believe what he's saying. He's an honorable person when it comes to his stories. I don't think I've ever really caught him in a lie online, like looking at stuff that he said. Like, he's pretty honest with his perspective. Now, that doesn't mean I agree with everything that Damon says. Yeah. I don't agree with all of his viewpoints, but I don't think I've ever seen him lie.
I'm just, and then I saw R. Kelly's daughter come out and say that she was molested by her father. And I saw people kind of attack her in the comments and say, why are you telling this now in a documentary and blah, 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 blah. And what people don't realize is that when you have been sexually abused, it takes years to uncover that trauma. And especially when you've been abused by someone that close to you. Sometimes there are stages where you bury that so deep that you begin to question whether or not that even happened to you.
Right.
So to go through that and to have enough courage to say, my father did that to me, I don't think that's something that someone would do to make that up. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like you got to understand the level that you go through when you suffer that level
I agree with that.
Sexual abuse.
Yeah, that's like, I always say it's hard for people to speak out about these situations, Yeah. But wait, that isn't connected to Dame, right? You went into the R. Kelly
thing. No, it is connected to Dame.
Did he say something about her?
I was saying Damon Dash had said these things about R. Kelly, which made me go into his daughter coming out. But to go back to Dame Dash, if Aaliyah has said these things to you, and you knew that this man was capable of these things, why didn't you report it? Why didn't you report it to authorities?
Right.
Why didn't you step up? Because at the time you were Dame Dash.
Right.
The guy. You had everything in your stratosphere. Why didn't you take the initiative to report it and get him locked up?
I'm going to speculate because we don't know that he knew what was really going on with other women. He said that he knew what was happening between R. Kelly and Aaliyah, whatever she confided in him. And that could have been a choice that she made, right? Like, she could have said, don't say anything, or, because that's not really his narrative or his fight to do if she doesn't sanction it, if she doesn't tell him to go do it. If I went through something tragic and traumatic. So then why is he doing it now?
So why is he doing it now? So if she sanctioned him not to say anything and to keep that intimate conversation, then why are you violating her now and doing it in her
But
death?
Why do you think it's violating? Because he's saying that he knows the situation between them?
I'm saying if you're playing devil's advocate, and you're saying that and she didn't give him authority to say it, and then if she didn't give you authority then to say it because she didn't want it out there, why are you putting it out there now?
I think it's already out there now. I think the difference between back then and now is that now it's widespread. So, like, I don't think there's been books written about it. There's been documentaries done. Like, people know now that it was a situation. So I feel like he's probably more, and I don't want to speak for him, right? But I feel like he's probably more willing to talk about it now and to talk about his experience. And then let me just say this, because I think storytelling is the new content king, right? Anyone who gets out and tells their stories, that's where you're building community. And I know from a business standpoint, and he is a businessman, that he's building his community, and he's doing it through speaking about it. And I've watched some of the videos that he's done recently. I watched what we're talking about now. I also watched a video he did where he talked about, his Clark Kent, who's, struggling right now. I watched that video. It was very heartfelt, emotional, and he told the story of how Clark Kent, and I'm talking about DJ Clark Kent, how he really is the reason for Rockefeller existing. Mm-hmm. And I know that story because when I was writing the Rockefeller story back at the source, DJ Clark Kent helped me. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was that person in the culture.
So what is going on with Clark Kent?
I would rather not say what I don't know, right, and what I've read, because I know that there may be some health issues there that he's dealing with, and his family has asked for everyone to respect that. And look,
so
as
why
a journalist,
would the source post an article that said he passed away without getting proper confirmation from his family?
That is a great question. And I was in conversations about that with people, because part of what I do, I think, even though I don't work there anymore and I don't write the articles I used to write, is that I talk to journalists a lot about coverage and how to cover things and what's important. And that's something that I know people have said, oh, well, why is everyone rushing to put up a story like that?
Is it because they want to be the first?
Yes, it could be, right? But also, like, they put out a statement and said that someone in the family had told them that, and and granted, you should have went and got a statement from the family, right? You should have had, you see that little thing? You should have had, should have been able to fact checked, right? You should have went out and did that before you ran with it. And they weren't the only outlet that did that. Yeah. There were a few outlets, or a couple outlets at least, that I saw that actually ran that. And it's a sad situation, right?
It is, because it's very traumatic,
yeah,
for a family to have to go through that. When, God bless the dead, Kay Slay passed away, and I got the call from his mother. Yeah. We had been in conversations so much prior to that in terms of like his health, yeah, and how he was doing and what he was battling with and how she wanted it, yeah, to the public. And when people got word, that he had transitioned, we weren't the first to put it out there because we wanted, yes, to do it in honor,
respectfully,
how his mother wanted it done. And she, yeah, wanted it done in a particular way. And she wanted to approve the messaging. She wanted, and I think it's so important to a family to give them that when, mm-hmm, they're grieving. Mm-hmm. I know for me, it was so important to make sure his mother had the final say, because that's her son. To, yes, us, he's Kay Slay, but to her, that's her son.
Yeah, that's her son. You know what, though? I will say, I feel like this media generation is a lot different than the one we were in.
Yeah.
And we were a close community when we reported things. Like, we wanted to make sure the family was okay with things that we said, even with his health struggles, right? Like, you don't just want to put something like that out there without talking to him or talking to the family and just respectfully figuring out, okay, well, what are you comfortable with us reporting on, right? Because that is such a serious thing.
But it goes back to your point.
But that's integrity.
But no, and it also goes to your point that you made earlier. A lot of people who have these platforms have subscription-based platforms. Right. And their bread and butter comes from people that pay to subscribe.
Right.
So if you notice, like when people are on chats and they're on Twitch and they're on, mm-hmm, this and they're on that subscription on Patreon, you're paying for their lifestyle. You're paying.
The game has changed.
It's changed.
It's definitely changed.
Yeah.
The media game has changed.
So they need to be able to feed the machine.
Right.
They need their views up. They need their lives
Right.
up. They need to feed the stream. So it's like, I got to be the first.
Yep.
I got to get it out there.
Yep.
I got to do this. I'll fact check later. Oh, I don't even care about fact
Yeah.
checking. Because the truth, the lie is more entertaining than the truth.